Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I say this like every time, but I can't believe we're almost halfway through 2021. It's just so crazy and a little bit scary too, not gonna lie, but I'm really excited for the summertime. And it means that I'm going to do the mid-year book freakout tag once again. The one I did last year was one of the first videos I ever did. I think I actually waited until the end of June because that's like the actual half of the year, but everyone had already uploaded theirs, so I wanted to be a little bit earlier this year. I'm not sure how many books I read last year, but I'm sure I've read more. This year I have only read 44 books this far, which is due to the fact that I was in a massive reading slump the last few weeks, but I'm slowly getting out of it, which is really exciting. And yeah, but that just means I don't have too many options for these questions. But before we get into the video, I want to quickly mention my glasses again. This is a new pair that got sent to me by Zinf, so thank you so much to them. I've really been loving the glasses from them. I already have this pair that I'm wearing right now in another color, and I love this one so much. I wear it like 24/7 that I wanted to get another color because I like it so much. They have sunglasses with prescriptions, so they're just really good and affordable, and you can save an additional 50% of frames and 20% of glasses with my code OCEAN. So it would really mean a lot if you could check them out. But that aside, let's get into the video finally. The most exciting question probably is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2021? And because I haven't read too many, I don't think I've had my absolute favorite yet, but the one that I enjoyed the most probably was, I think, Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. This book just reminded me why I love reading, and this trilogy in general is just one of my favorites. I think I mentioned God's Grave in last year's version of this tag as the best sequel, I think, and I just really love the humor in it. I love the characters, and I love Mr. Kindly. So enjoyable, so I would definitely recommend this book and the series in general, although I do want to mention that there has been some criticism with the author, especially because of one of the characters in this trilogy. There is a character in this trilogy with a name that is very important to Jewish people, and you should definitely not pronounce it, but I think they have changed the name of this person in the future editions or just printings of this book. So I would definitely suggest you to check out the criticisms about this author because there are a few more. And now to the best sequel I've read so far, and for this I have chosen Death Note Volume 2, which is a manga. I think this is pretty popular, a lot of people know about this, so I think I don't have to explain to you what this is about, but this was just so good, so mind-blowing and genius how everything is plotted in this one, and just the strategies were just so good, and there's so much suspense in these mangas. I would definitely recommend to you this manga series if you haven't checked it out yet. I'm really looking forward to the other volumes. Now the next question is, what is a new release you haven't read yet but want to? And at the point that I'm filming this video, I have not picked up Heartstopper Volume 4 yet, even though this was my absolute most anticipated release of the year. I have no idea why, but it's on my TBR for June, so I think I'm definitely going to read this month, and I'm super looking forward to it. Other new releases are Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I really enjoyed Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones, so I am really looking forward to Malibu Rising. And I also really want to get to One Last Stop. I don't have a copy yet, but I do really want to read this one too. I have read Red, White and Royal Blue, but I didn't love it as much, but I have a little bit higher hopes for One Last Stop, we'll see. So these are 3 new releases I want to get to really soon. And the next question is, what are the most anticipated releases for the second half of the year? So my problem in general is that I'm usually not up to date with series, but one that I'm pretty much up to date with is Serpent and Dove. I'm currently reading Blood and Honey, so I really want to get this series finished with the final book in the series, which is called Gods and Monsters, and I think it comes out pretty soon, so I want to get to that one. And then of course Empire of the Vampire. And next up, what is your biggest disappointment of this year? And unfortunately I have to choose A Deadly Education. This is the first and so far only book that I've given 1 star. I just had super high expectations for this. I think I actually mentioned this book in last year's tag as one of my most anticipated releases, and I read it this year in January and had super high hopes because the premise is just so promising and really fitting for my taste, but it just didn't deliver at all. I talk more in depth about it in my January wrap-up if you want to check that out. Yeah, this just was a mess. I'm sorry. And then my biggest surprise, I would say, was actually In Order to Live, which is a nonfiction about a girl and her family and how they escaped North Korea. I was like vaguely interested in the topic, and when I actually picked it up and listened to the audiobook, I was so shocked because I had no idea, which seems a little bit naive, but it's hard. Like, I don't want to spoil anything. Is it really a spoiler? But just read it for yourself. It's just shocking, honestly. And I really think everyone should read this book. And I would definitely recommend the audiobook as well. Now, a favorite author that can be a debut or a new to me author. And I think I'd have to go with N.K. Jemisin on this one. I recently read this novella called Emergency Skin, and it was just so good. Like, I was so surprised. I've never read anything from this author, but this was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars, I believe. And I'm really looking forward to picking up her other books now because I do have the 5th season here. It is really short as well, so you can read this in one go definitely. And it's sci-fi, and I don't really want to say too much because it's so short. But you're following someone from, like, not a Mars colony, the planet isn't really mentioned, but that makes it easier to explain. Someone from a Mars colony coming back to the Earth because the Mars colony people escaped the Earth due to like war and different things, and they come back hundreds of years later to, you know, check Earth out, you know, what it's like. And I don't really want to say anything else, but it's pretty good. You can definitely apply it to the current situation. Okay, I'm not going to say anything else because I think this is like 40 pages long. Could be wrong on this, but definitely under 100 pages. Just check it out. I think it's also on Kindle Unlimited. Now the next question is always a little bit hard for me. Newest fictional crush. I don't really get crushes on fictional people, so I can't really answer this one. And also I can't answer the next question, which is newest favorite character. For some reason, I have no idea why, but I just don't have any character where I'm like, yes, I love this person. So I have to skip this one too, I'm sorry. Now, a book that made you cry was actually the first book that I read this year, and it's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, which is a children's picture book. This is just such a cute book about friendship, and you can see I have so many tabs on this one. I basically tabbed every single page, so... But it just has a lot of good quotes in it, and yeah, I just really like this one and would definitely recommend this to you as well. Next up, we have a book that made you happy, and for this one I'm going to have to go with a German book, Durch die Nacht und alle Zeiten by Eva Völler, for mainly 2 reasons. One of them being that I already love the other series that this author has written, so it was nice to get something new from them. And secondly, for some reason I have such a big affiliation with time travel novels. I have no idea why. I know it's pretty corny, I guess, but I just love these reactions every time, you know, when historical figures come into the present and vice versa. And that's what this one is basically about. This one is set in the present, and we have a historical figure coming in from the beginning of the 1800s, I want to say. And I just really love their romance, and this just made me super happy. Not because this is the best book I've ever read, but because it was so enjoyable. Next up, the most beautiful book that I've bought this year, and I think I'm going to have to go with the Infernal Devices Illumicrate editions. If I had to choose, I would probably go with Clockwork Princess because I just love this lilac-y color, and yeah, stenciled edges, and I love gold foiling on books, so yeah. I think these are probably my favorite covers. And the last questions is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And honestly, there are so many, it's really hard to choose, but I do really want to continue with the Throne of Glass series, and the next one would be Empire of Storms. I really want to get to Obsidio too. Oh, and The House in the Cerulean Sea is one that is high up on my list as well. So these are just 3, but honestly there are so many. And yeah, this is the mid-year book freakout tag. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what your favorite book thus far is in the comments down below. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.